Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Medeek Wall Plugin. My name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about wood construction connectors, or some of the hardware that's used in the wall plugin, and actually in all of the plugins that I've created. And more specifically, I wanted to discuss why I predominantly list Simpson Strong-Tie hardware and not the comparable Mitek produced USP connectors. So to get into it, let's actually I've drawn a little model here with a bit of hardware thrown in just to show you guys some of the hardware that I'm talking about. But let's pull up my website real quick here, and I've just got that here. So if you go on to any of the extensions and you scroll down, I think to the download link, download trial right here, you're going to notice there's, and a lot of people probably don't know this, but you're going to notice there's a little link here to vendors, material suppliers and vendors, and it's pretty non-conspicuous, but I just have a little link there. And what that does, that takes you to a page here which shows most of the hardware and different vendors that are basically used within the plugin. So you can see, we've got a little bit of everything here, zip sheathing, James Hardie siding, some window manufacturers. And of course, at the very top, you're going to see Simpson Strong-Tie. And you can obviously tell here with the wall plugin that we've got a lot of hardware from them that's being used within the extension. So, yeah, so you can see that basically most of the hardware is all Simpson Strong-Tie. Ties, anchor bolts, beam to column ties, post bases, column bases, you name it, it's pretty much here. There's a lot of hardware in the Simpson catalog. And so basically every one of these part numbers, there is basically a pre-modeled piece of hardware or component that I've created, a low poly component that's available for use within the plugin. And you can see down here, we do have a little bit of Mitek. We have their Hardie frame panels, which actually I've put in the model that I've just shown you here. Right. So I threw in a couple of the Simpson steel strong wall, and we've got their regular wood high strength wood shear wall. And this here is the HFX, the Mitek's comparable product. And over here, I think I've got an older generation wood strong wall there by Simpson, but I think now this one's replaced it. But anyways, so yeah, I've basically, since day one, I've been, basically using a lot of Simpson in all of the plugins. And the reason is that, I've been working in the structural engineering field now for, well, since 2012, I guess, around then. And, from day one, basically, Simpson Strong-Tie is kind of the predominant manufacturer of all these hold downs and different pieces of hardware that we use, like for post caps and bases. So it's definitely a dominant, almost I would almost say a monopoly, maybe not quite a monopoly, but very nearly there. And you might ask, well, why are they so dominant? I don't know. When I started engineering in 2012, I had a couple of mentors, and you learn from those mentors, and you kind of pick up whatever they're doing, and everybody was using Simpson, right? So that's what I started using. I mean, and to be honest, Simpson is a great product. They produce high quality, good products, in my opinion. I mean, some of us complain about the cost, but steel is steel, so it costs money these days. The one thing I will say though is I'm going to just pull up their website here. Like, for instance, their website is very well documented. Whenever you need information about the specs, all of the installation. Yeah, so you got all your loads in here. The other thing I will say too is that for me as the developer, what's really nice is that they've provided these 3D files, right? So we got the multi-IFC files, for instance, that I use to bring in low poly model. Well, not low poly. I bring in those models, and then I create my low poly version based on those models, because I want dimensionally accurate hardware, right? So I want these to be like these hold downs, if you take them and you compare them against the IFC models that are provided on their website, they're going to be spot on. But of course, what I've done is I've created low poly versions of them, so they're nice and cleaned up, and they're grouped nicely, and they're solids, so they can be you can perform Boolean operations on them if required, but generally you don't need to do that. So anyways, excellent documentation on their website. And they, like I said, they provide those the 3D data that you need to generate the models from. And I'm not saying that Mitek doesn't provide a good product. They have their website and they have their different comparable products, and a lot of their products are. I mean, I don't know their part numbers only because I know Simpson so well. So I automatically know all their part numbers. Well, most of them, not all of them, but yeah, I mean, I'm not saying their products are bad or anything. I think they're available now in Lowe's, and then Home Depot carries all of Simpson's products. But it seems to me like, I think in 2011 is when Mitek purchased USP connectors, and then took on that, the wood connector, or got into the wood connector market, and started, competing against Simpson. But it just seems like Simpson is kind of like the king. They are the innovators. Every couple of years they come out with their new catalog. I mean, I have my catalog right here on my desk, the 2024 or 2025 Wood Construction Connectors catalog. And I really like, too, that Simpson has, you can get, their literature requests by mail, and they'll send you an actual hard copy. And so, that, I don't know, it's nice, of course, I get online and look at the web, but it's nice to have that physical hard copy. And literature-wise, Mitek, you can download all their product catalogs. I think right here we have their structural product catalog. Very comparable. If you take a peek through this, it's like 200 pages to the Simpson product, but and product lines. But I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to actually get a hard copy of it. I would actually like to have a hard copy of it. But anyways, back to the extension itself. Most of the engineers that I've worked with or spoken to, we use Simpson a lot, and it's true and tried. And if it works, then don't break it. And so everybody knows what we're talking about when we call out certain part numbers. And so it's kind of the de facto standard out there when it comes to structural connectors, especially for wood connectors in the residential marketplace. So that is kind of why I guess I have, I mean, I'm familiar with them. I like them. I like Simpson Strong-Tie as a company. They have good support as well. And so again, if it's not broken, let's not fix it. And so that is primarily why I've focused on adding all of the Simpson hardware when I need hardware into the extension. And and if I had a lot of requests from people requesting, the USP connectors or the comparable part numbers, I will certainly add those in. I have no problem if I can add them in. So if you do have a specific request and you would like to see that hardware added in, then by all means email me and I can add that in. But to be honest, I don't know that maybe once or twice I may have had somebody ask about a USB part number, and usually what I'll do is I'll provide them with a comparable Simpson product and give them that part number, and usually if I can, I'll add it into the extension as well. So that kind of is my rationale for focusing primarily on Simpson Strong-Tie wood connectors and hardware, but that's hopefully a reasonable answer to that question that I received. So anyways, Mitek, I think they're a great company. They primarily, I think their bread and butter of their business is, these truss plate connectors. You'll see they're dominant here, at least in the U.S., with that sort of thing. And I think Simpson has actually got into the truss plate connector market. But with regards to my plugin, specifically the truss plugin, I don't call out any sort of manufacturer for these truss plates. It's kind of just a generic truss plate. Really, I don't think it matters because most people really don't care. And the reason is because you're not actually, as the customer or the contractor, you're not purchasing those truss plates from the manufacturer. Those truss plates come with whatever truss company that manufactures your truss, and you either get Alpine, Simpson, or Mitek connectors. And again, it just doesn't really matter to you as the contractor or the designer what those plates are. Whereas when you're dealing with the connectors and the hold downs and all that sort of thing, it does matter in the sense that you got to go out and purchase those products and then install them, right? So then you need the documentation, you need to know what the price is, all that good stuff. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Again, both companies are great companies in my opinion, and they provide great products. It's just that Simpson Strong-Tie is kind of the tried and true product that I'm most familiar with, and hopefully this has been helpful to some of you guys. And if you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to email me, and I would love to hear back from you guys. All right, we'll talk to you later.